speaking of advanced security features, Habib, and Zero Trust, it was interesting. I was talking at a panel session yesterday with listening to Grant Snyder, the federal CISO, talking about the various things and identity management and just the whole play around that, even in a Zero Trust environment, more so, how important that is in this new sort of ecosystem. Tell us, give us 30 seconds on what Okta is, and then how do you fit into this ecosystem to enable these capabilities?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Luke. And so Okta is an identity and access management provider, software as a service. Happy to say we do hold a FedRAMP ATO for moderate, and we're working on moving up to high. And so for us, it's all about ensuring that the right person is accessing the right application under the right conditions. And as part of Zero Trust, continually monitoring that, and whether it's signing on with a PIV card or multi-factor or some other context, right? Using all that to make and to allow our customers to make informed decisions. So when you start to look at the progress being made in cloud computing today, and kind of echoing what Karen and Paul and Ashley and Joe have already said, a lot of it is really, I think there's three things that we're seeing, or that I'm seeing. One is increased collaboration, right? Right now, especially now, given the geopolitical climate, interagency communications is becoming key, right? How do you share that information? How do you share it effectively? How do you make sure that the right person has the right access to the right information? So increases in collaboration across not just government agencies, but also state and local right now, I think is a big shift that we're starting to see improved efficiencies in, and the cloud is the backbone for a lot of that. I think as part of that as well, and I'm happy to say, I think Karen and State, they were ahead of the curve on this, but we're quickly starting to see increased efficiencies in the delivery of information through partner portals or stakeholder access. So when you're trying to access that information that's being delivered in AWS or Azure or even Snowflake, right? Making sure that end user experience is as clean, as efficient as possible, so as not to cause any undue friction. And I think the third is, and I think Paul and Joe mentioned this, was starting to leverage the cloud for what it's really good at, and increased high availability, increased resiliency in your network and your applications, and shifting that burden from your data centers and putting that up into the cloud and letting it do what it does well. So now you become more mission focused on delivering the application and less focused on, shoot, am I going to have the bandwidth that I need to deliver this application if I have a landslide event? Am I going to have the storage or the ability to pool and query that storage for all this data that I'm now aggregating for everything that I'm doing? So I think those are some of the cool trends that we're starting to see.
Yeah, you really want, I mean, look, any CIO wants to be able to extract themselves from that and focus on delivering to the mission, right? Enabling the customer experience, et cetera. And I would imagine these tools also allow for some of those personas and authorities in regards to not only who you are in regards to identity management, but what you're capable of doing and changing that dynamically, et cetera, delegating authorities, those sort of things, right?
Absolutely. I think as a byproduct of that, we're starting to see increased efficiencies and automation of that delivery, right? Exactly what you said. So as, for example, Paul just moved into this new role at Army. Well, all right, now that he has this new role, that probably comes with additional entitlements. So making sure that what he wasn't supposed to have access to before, he now has access to. What he should have lost access to, he loses, right? And whatever needs to stay the same, he maintains that access that he already had.